Hi, this is Jonny Reps from Crash Love Gaming, and we got to talk about some bullshit right now. The bullshit we are talking about today is Overwatch. I know a lot of people have probably not heard the words Overwatch or thought the words Overwatch and bullshit in the same sentence. Everybody loves this game. It has rave reviews everywhere. It has a huge user base. It's already had over 10 million as of last week, from what I've heard from a tweet that Blizzard made. 10 million different players. But what is the game really worth all the praise it is getting? I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna go maybe against the grain. Maybe I'll get hate again. Who the fuck cares? This is talking about the console version of the game now. I don't really know enough to make an educated opinion about the PC version of the game because I'm not a PC gamer and I don't play it on PC. I play it exclusively on PlayStation 4. So we're talking about the PlayStation 4 console version of the game. So anyway, let's get right into it. I live in Canada. I paid $80 for the game for console, which is a lot of fucking money. Normal games go for 80, which it was a full price game. A $60 game in the US, $80 game in Canada. Now, we would kind of want to compare to see how if this game is a ripoff or not. I will do I did a bit of research. And I want to compare some numbers between the development costs of Overwatch, development costs of other games, of other AAA games that have came out. Compare it with the price that it sells for and its sales and the content that we're actually getting out of the game. So first of all, many people might know the most expensive game ever developed supposedly was Destiny, which cost $500 million. Second most expensive was Grand Theft Auto 5, which cost about half as much. It was like $265 million. There's a list on Wikipedia, linked right there, of the most expensive games ever made. There's nothing on that list below $40 million. And you'll notice Overwatch is not actually on that list. And the reason being is because Blizzard has not really actually declared what the total development costs of Overwatch are. And I think the development costs of, even if they did declare the development costs of Overwatch, I don't think it would actually even crack the $40 million mark that it would need to hit to be on that list. And let me explain why. Overwatch was the reincarnation of Titan, which was a MMO that was being developed by Blizzard for about, from where different sources I've read, between 5 to 7 years. And Titan, apparently within that 5 to 7 years, had about $50 million sunk into it. We can say on the shorter end, probably about 5 years, $10 million a year. Overwatch itself was only in development for, depending on who you talk to, anywhere from 2 to 3 years. Now, if we can kind of extrapolate and maybe inflate the numbers, 50 million in Titan in about 5 years, we could say, like, I would say it wouldn't be unreasonable to assume that Overwatch may have put in an additional $30 to $40 million in those years. So even if you would absorb the cost of Titan and you take the 30 to 40 million that I would estimate that Overwatch may have cost at the top end, we'll say at the top end it would probably be 30, 40 million. I've seen people actually estimating even a lower to 10 to 15 million for the actual development cost of the game Overwatch. So if you add those together, we're looking at anywhere from like 60 to 90 million dollars for a production budget, which nowadays for a AAA title is really not all that high. Or a game even like Watch Dogs, Ubisoft was quoted as saying that their development team on that game, it was I think like 600 people, and the development cost was probably a little bit higher than Overwatch for that game. And that game did not do as well in sales as Overwatch by a long shot. Overwatch has in fact already had over 10 million unique players, which that does not mean 10 million sales, but I don't think it would be unreasonable to assume that Overwatch that at least half of those 10 million players were actual sales. Half of 10 million is 5 million. I think saying Overwatch has had at least 5 million in sales already about a month into its release, a little over a month into its release, would not be unreasonable. The game sells for between $40 and $60. Actually, there's special editions that go upwards of 80 US. The version I bought was 80 Canadian, which would be the $60 US version. Even if you take the modest estimate of 5 million sales at the lowest possible price of $40 you could pay for the game, you're still looking at least $200 million in sales that they have done, which is minimum triple, 2 to 3 times the production budget that the game has already recouped in less than a month. On top of that, the game is still selling, and the game will most definitely be implementing more and more microtransactions as it continues to be be played and be more popular, which will bring even more money into the coffers of Blizzard. The game has been a runaway success. It's made a ton of money. We know Destiny was even successful. Destiny had a huge budget, and it sold very well, and it was successful with that huge budget. Overwatch all signs point to Overwatch not having a huge budget, and it's been extremely successful. It's sold a ton of copies, and I think the game is overpriced, because a lot of free-to-play games have taken a very similar model to Overwatch, a very similar structure, and they have very similar content to Overwatch in terms of quantities of everything. So let's look at Overwatch's content. There's 12 maps in the initial release. There's 4 game modes technically. One of the game modes is just a combination of 2 others, but we'll say 4 game modes. And the 12 maps, there's 3 maps for each game mode. There's 21 heroes. That's pretty much all there is to the game. There's no single player, there's no missions, there's no co-op, there's no like additional content. There's not even any like cutscenes or anything like that. I mean, besides a couple here. It's very, very limited in its content. I find this very kind of mind-boggling that Star Wars Battlefront, another game we play on this channel all the time, linked to the playlist right there of our Star Wars Battlefront, our Star Wars Battlefront Crash and the Boys, link it right there. Star Wars Battlefront got shit for coming out with such little content, even though it had some day one free DLC. We've not seen any free DLC, any DLC period from Overwatch yet, now over a month into the launch. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that the fact that the game has released with such limited content to begin with. Battlefront, again, also had not really any single-player mode, but at least it had some missions. It had something to add on to it. And they have released quite a bit of free DLC in addition to the Season Pass, which is obviously overpriced, but they've released additional free stuff besides the Season Pass content. But Battlefront had I think something like 12 small maps and 4 or 5 big maps when it launched. So probably around 17 maps. So quite a few more maps than Overwatch. And I think it launched with about 9 game modes, which was more than double. So honestly, I think Overwatch has launched with less content than Battlefront, and has done better on sales. And it has not gotten anywhere near the level of shit that Star Wars Battlefront did. And I think part of the reason is because everybody hates EA. And I don't necessarily like EA, but I don't think Battlefront's a bad game. And anyway, enough of comparing those two games. They're not really similar, and you can't really compare them. But the fact of the matter is, it kind of irks me that Battlefront gets such a bad rap for lack of content when Overwatch is even a bigger offender. But we'll get into that in a second. Now let's compare Overwatch to Team Fortress 2. Team Fortress 2 launched in I don't remember the year. Whatever year it launched, it was sometime late 2000, somewhere in that era. But anyway, it launched with the orange box. It was $40, and it also came with Portal and Half-Life 2. I'm not sure if there was something else, but it was $40. And Team Fortress 2 was in development for a lot longer than Overwatch was. Team Fortress 2 launched with only 6 maps, but it currently has over 50, and it's on a free-to-play model, launched with 9 heroes. Overwatch obviously has a lot more content, but Overwatch was a lot more expensive at launch. It was $20 more expensive, first of all, and it didn't come with it didn't come with Half-Life and Portal. So, and on top of that, Team Fortress 2 has had a constant stream of free DLC. Let's just wrap this up. We're going to come full circle now. Basically, the point of this rant, I know it's not a very angry rant, it's a more logical rant. I'm trying to give you some information. I'm not sure if all my numbers are perfect. I don't know if all my information is right. A lot of it is speculation. A lot of it is guessing. But we do know this. Overwatch has been very successful. Overwatch kind of lacks content. Overwatch has not gotten shit for this lack of content, except for me right now. But Overwatch... let's just get down to the brass tacks. Overwatch, we need more free content now. We need more maps, not necessarily more heroes. We need more maps. We need more modes. We need more variation. We need fucking something, because the game is bare bones right now, and it's got shit for content. It was overpriced from the get-go, and Blizzard is fucking laughing all the way to the bank right now. A lot of people, I know some people like Blizzard. Some people think, but they survive off World of Warcraft survived so long off monthly subscriptions, off getting people addicted to the damn game, and that's my opinion of that. I'm not a Warcraft player. I'm sorry, don't fucking pelt me with fucking axes or something, but I mean, they're in it for the money. Pretty much every company is, and you can't fault them for that. But the fact of the matter is, Overwatch is just, compare it to previous releases, current releases, compare its budget, compare its content, compare how much its sales, and something does not add up. And as I've said in this video, it just does not add up. We need free content. It's not justified to be as expensive as it is and give us as little replayability and as little content as we can. And I know the game has a lot of little intricacies in terms of how it has balance. The balance is pretty good. It has a lot of intricacies in terms of how characters play the interplay of the classes and character types and everything. It's all a draw to the game, but really that's all there is to the game. It may be finely tuned, but again, content. Content is king, and that's what Overwatch is lacking. Content. Not enough content. Not enough content, stranger. So, that's the video. Overwatch, give us free shit now. No! Ow, my back. A quick aside, I'm not implying that I don't think Overwatch is going to have a thriving community with a lot of user-generated content like Team Fortress 2 and a lot of free content possibly in the future. And I know a lot of that free content is mainly on a PC for Team Fortress 2. The fact of the matter is, none of that has happened yet. So, are we going to see it? Probably, but we haven't seen it yet. So that's the video. If you like the video, like the damn video. Subscribe to our channel. Subscribe to Crash Love Gaming on Twitch. Subscribe to Crash Love Gaming on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Follow me, Jonny Reps, on Instagram. Actually, no, it's Jonny Rep, R-E-P, on Instagram. Follow me on Twitch at Jonny Reps. And if you ever want to play games with us, Stone Mountain 64, I want you to fucking collab with us. Let's play some Battlefront, bitch. Play some Battlefront. Play my fucking outro. Come on, play my outro. I gotta have an outro at this point. Play it.